Are we live?
Yes, we are live.
Okay.
Uh,
Uh,
shall I give the introduction?
Please go ahead, Doctor.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are with Dr. Akilesh Khan. He's going to talk about iatrogenic diseases and the real challenge in the conditions and the scope of homeopathy in iatrogenic diseases. I give a short introduction of Dr. Akilesh Khan, and I'll give the mic over to Dr. Akilesh Khan. So, Dr. Akilesh Khan is a professor of the Emeritus AHMC Nagpur. He was a former administrator and a principal in DNDE Homeopathic Medical College, Kolkata, West Bengal. He was a former chairman, syllabus committee of Government of West Bengal for BNYS and DNYS, Naturopathy and Yoga. Former member secretary of the Central Selection Committee of the Ayush Department of Health and Family Welfare in the Government of West Bengal. He has also authored many books. He is the author of Scales of Homeopathic Pharmacy and Homeopathy in Mother and Child Health. He's co-authored and was in the expert team of Materia Medica of Indian Drugs, published by the CCRH. We're very proud to have, proud and honored to have him today on the webinar. And yes, please enjoy the webinar and take home like good message and good knowledge from through the webinar. I'll hand over the mic to Dr. Akilesh Khan and we'll start the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Raghavan, Karthik Raghavan from Chennai, and Dr. Rasmi Rangarajan, and inviting me in this webinar. And good morning, good evening, everybody. Somebody are, I think, seeing from the outside India also, and because they've contacted personally to participate in this program, I send the link to them. However, good morning, everybody. Today is a very important topic, iatrogenic disease and scope of homeopathy. I would like to say few words on these views. And prior to starting my proper topic and text, I would dedicate this program to Professor Ananda Mohan Chakraborty. Ananda Mohan Chakraborty, a renowned figure in this world. Recently, he deceased in Chicago in his own residence, and he was a great scientist. He was the professor emeritus of Illinois University, and he discovered one genetically engineering bacteria known as oil-eating bacteria, and it was very useful during the Gulf War. And he personally came to know, as because he came in my college few years back to participate in a seminar, and he's a very good person, having also good, excellent ideas he had on homeopathy. He also discovers a T28, that is amino acid for prevention of cancer, though it is not, at that time, it was not recognized patent from the USA. Therefore, I dedicate this program, particularly this program, to this great personality, as I came contact with him in my college in an oration and in a third All Bengal Homeopathic Seminar organized by DND Homeopathy Medical College. Now the present administration that converted it into the International Homeopathic, International Postgraduate Homeopathic Conference. So my students, viewers, now we are going to approach now what is a webinar and how it is good for education, the object of the webinar. Now in this pandemic situation, all the schools, colleges, universities are going through the online classes. And even today, we are finding out so many webinars in India and abroad are going on, inviting so many speakers. Now, what is the meaning of the webinar? Webinar, if you go through the dictionary meaning, that is nothing but the online seminar. So that should be, there are some sorts of object of webinar. In particularly webinar, it is meant for the students as well as for the practitioners in a particular system of medicines, also in particular system of science, in whether in physics, chemistry, or whatever might be. Whenever it is the seminar, so something sorts of advanced knowledge to be disseminated to the viewers, and also to recapitulation or iteration of their text as they taught in the graduation and in the post-graduation course and being taught proper way, that is the iteration. With these views, I would like to present this seminar in consultation my text as well as in my own experiences, presenting some clinical cases on this point of time and how to get rid of from this particular pandemic. Now, in this situation, the only one sound we are listening from the different part of the corner of the world, man dies of owing to the drugs, not due to disease. Because of that, what happened? Now the medicines, as you know, are very much lessened in respect to the modern medicines, in respect to treating the so many complicated cases, even this pandemic. So naturally, what happened? We are seeing lot of side effects and bad effects of the medicines, and naturally, what we see when the patient is not being treated with antibiotics or any other medicine, whatever might be it, their patients are getting more benefit by going through the natural way. So this slogan is very much pertinent today, even today this pending situation, and also it was a slogan for a few decades in this universe. Now, what is the situation of the universe and how, what, why? Just morning, Dr. Karthik uploaded in his channel that with the current pandemic and the treatment of protocols offered by premier health organization in the world, there are many diseases, there are many illness and conditions that arise upon after the consequences of the prevalent mode of treatment. They are considered to be the collateral damage. Yes, it is accepted by them also. But with the homeopathy, we can treat the illness without any collateral damage. And so let us see what is the way to go through, and which would be the peace seller, which will be the peace seller. It is an English phrase, the real mode of treatment. And so let us think over the matters. Now the entire world, just look over that it is that is engulfed by this particular virus, though it is the blue, but now the part of the blueness has been covered by some sorts of dragon, and the skeleton has been formed, owing to the who is the main person, or sorry, the main thing by which the situation has been occurred, that is to be looked into and that is to be ridiculed. Now, what is this thing? Whether it is that virus, it is made by someone, whether it is virus is a natural, let us explore and let us think about it. The situation like that, the virus, as if someone has given to us, whether it is an ET, extraterrestrial, or it is a man-made, or it is natural, that to be explored in this time. The question has raises from the different part of the country that it is man-made, that is man-made, that it is China-made. Some country, dominating country of the world, that is China-made. And now, due to interference of the China, and now that sound is not stopped. No, it is not the China-made. Now let us see whether it is the Frankenstein, it is made up of a man. If it is so, then it is very dangerous. The person or the persons, the laboratory who has prepared it, they knows their antidote. I do not know. Let us explore whether it is the natural or whether it is the Frankenstein. Frankenstein, if so, the meaning of the Frankenstein, it also kills the originator. It also kills the inventor, according to the literature, according to the etymological derivation means it. But what so the China? Whether if it is so, the Chinese, the people of the China are killed by this bacteria or virus. That virus, I do not know. But what happened? If it is a Frankenstein, obviously the person or laboratory also already prepared that Frankenstein. Considering the natural or the Frankenstein, we should have to thought of the matter. Today, it is the challenge of the science in this respect. So, my viewers, what to do? Now the present situation only to get rid of by the way of medicine or vaccination. Because of the medicine, in the dominating system of medicine, the modern medicine, what prevalent system, what Raghavan says through the Facebook in the group, that the dominating medicine or any other system of medicines, any other system of medicine like Ayush system of medicine or or anything in the traditional system of medicine existing in the different part of the country, or the vaccination. The people are awaiting from the vaccination, from the vaccine for the vaccine, whether the vaccine will come out, that is in question, because some sorts of questions also raised from the different part of the country and different part of the country, the which whether Russian vaccine is good, whether Indian vaccine is good. So that should be think of later on. Now the question is that whether as a homeopathic physician we should keep silence, or excuse me while I ponder the meaning of the life. My question is that you please contemplate it, because when I thought that what is the meaning of the life? Meaning of the life, it is a full of complex. It is not the simple way of living life. It is not the way of bed roses by which you can pass the life up to the journey. No, it is not. Because every person, in respective of the constitution, he will suffer from some miasmatic impressions, whether it is the rich man or the poor man. It depends on the constitution. So life is not a simple thing. Life not it's a natural thing. The life is sometimes we the person make it complex. We the person complicate it. But in this question, whether we should read the silence, it is better to the silence, because at that point of time, what happened due to the stringent act of the epidemic act of the country, now the IU system has less scope to do, because sometimes the government made some notification that any other pathy should not claim that they are treating or they are curing the patients. What happened? We are doing everything in silence, and we are doing so that patients are getting rid of with our medicines. It is happening, but it is very much it is troublesome for us that we can't they can't explore this one by the way of the statistics, because they are the stringent epidemic act existent in this country, which was enacted in the first part of the last century when the Spanish flu was broken out as an epidemic. And thereafter, after the British government, when our country gets independence, and that exact epidemic act was published under the name of Government of India. But during that time, just before in the year 2005, that has been enacted. But there is no provision. They never thought of. There are other systems of medicine. There should be some space or room in the act. In that particular act, room for the IU system of medicine, homeopathy, Ayurveda, and whatever. So let us, when these are the recognized system of medicine, no one claimed. So they are the stringent act forbidden us to treat. But some part of the corner of the country, they are getting approach to the government to allow us to do the research on that. After that, they may come, and some court case has been filed to the Supreme Court of India. One court case was rejected owing to that only for the stringent act. So naturally, so it is better to keep silence in that point of time, and naturally we should do or work silently as we are doing, and keep the statistics records of the patients which you are treating by the homeopathic medicine and which are being treated by our homeopathic system of medicine and following the law of similibus curantur. So in this point, I try to explain some point at the last part of my slides, and better to go through the subject. Because of that, what happened? The main subject. This is the better to go keep mum, and the whole world is keep mum and wearing the mask. Now it is better to this way, because all entire citizen of this country as well as the all citizens of the world are keeping this mask, and better to keep your mask at this point of time, my homeopathic doctors and viewers, and pick it and do work silently, because there is no any other alternative at present of time to follow the World Health directives, World Health Organization directive, and government directives to follow the social distancing and using the mask. And what are the direction, as you know better, because I do not like to discuss about the details. And now to explore the nature. What is the truth behind it? What is the truth behind it? So in this respect, I can cite, and it is questions now, and it is the high time of the total universe, the Health Medical Society, that to discuss along with all other system of medicines, because only by the conjoint effect on the conjoint action we can get rid of from this particular trouble. We can remove our people from this fearness, and also we can get escape from this particular consequences happened due to the COVID infections. So it is the high time our government, I would like to approach to our government as well as to the World Health Organization. Please think twice. Please think twice. Please give scope to the other alternative system of medicine which are now dominating. Because of that, majority persons of the our country, even other country, also attracting towards our system of medicines. So we need some tables discussions in this regards. But the subject objective reality and subjective interpretation is needed everywhere. Because of the subject, I am going to do my more subjects, and therefore I'd like to interpret it. But what happened? That what we say, that is not the real, but what we do not see, what we cannot see, that is the real. Can you agree with these premises? I'm just giving a premises to my viewers, my students, those who are viewing this particular. What we see, that is not the real, but what we cannot see, that is the real. Can you agree? If anybody asks me, sir, what will be the answer? I will say, yes, I agree. Because of that, I can cite some example, because I would like to, because the example is better than precept. Example is better than precept. So therefore, I would like to some examples. So what is the color of the sky? The color of the sky actually colorless. But why we see blue? Because of that refractive index of the blue color is less. It remains in the sky. The refractive index of the other colors of the sun are more, and therefore they comes down in the earth and we see. So what we see, the color of the sky, but it is not the. So science interprets, science explains it in the scientific way. We have to explain in a jar. If you keep some water and put a glass rod, and from the outside, what you will see, that glass rod is zigzag. Is it thing? No, but why we see that zigzag? That because of that, the refraction index, that the refraction, due to the refraction. So there are so many things happening in this universe, in the living economy, that is not real, but there is something behind it which is real. That which is real. But in the language of organon medicine, we can say this is nothing but the vital force and vital principles are the real. Because every properties, every matter is a 2-3 properties, that the physical property, chemical property, and dynamic property. The dynamic property is only included in our medical parlance, homeopathic system of medicine. A student of physics, a student of chemistry will not come to interpret it. Because of that, they concerned with the matters. But what Hahnemann said in that period of time, we should know the changes and the development of the science happened during that time. During that time, so much development were not occurred, because the genetic theory, because of the nanotechnology, everything happened after the Master Hahnemann. So Master Hahnemann was very much scientific way, very much in scientific way described that phenomena, the dynamic. I do not like to go through these details of it because it needs so many interpretation, but my subject is quite different today. But you should agree on that premises which I have flowed here, which I have failed here for the purpose of knowing the true principles of life, two mode of the life. Now, my students, one thing you please, the Oliver Wendell said, if you all my subject proper of the interpretation, today is the iatrogenic disease. If all the drugs of the world could be dammed into sea, it would be better for mankind and the worse for the fishes. Can you think about the matter that what Oliver Wendell said? That the drugs of the entire world, that if you draft of the sea, that it will be better for the humankind. So you please think about the matter. And I'm quoting from some followers. Indiscriminate use of the cause and increased number of the serious and sometimes fatal reaction. Most antibiotic prescription written by the common cold, flu, and similar viral diseases are undiagnosed fever are unnecessary. That consequences, if you go through the chronic disease, if you go through the organomedes, that only debilitating patients, emotions, that is the cause of the manifestation of the secondary manifestation. But he mentioned everywhere that but due to the indiscriminate use of the allopathic, non-homeopathic drugs in life, this is another cause of manifestations of the secondary disorder. So in this way, what happened? Now the medical science in today, what grand estimate says in the medical school, New York Medical School, it is the real thing. So it is happening today, and therefore the questions. If you open your newspaper, if you open your newspaper in the second page, front page, you'll not get in. There is so many advertisement, so many. Please give O positive kidney. Please give in 20 years back, 30 years back. On I was a student of PHMS or MD student. I did not see this type of advertisement in a newspaper. But day by day, these are increasing. Day by day, these are increasing. Why? The question is why? Because of the consequences of the bad effects of the drugs, indiscriminate use of the different types of heroic drugs in the name of wonder drugs. And so this advertisement is a cautions before that, and we see so many advertisements come, but not like that. A second page of most of the newspapers covered by, at least you can see 10 or 20 advertisement like please give kidney, please give kidney, please give kidney. Now the situation is like that. We should wonder. So sometimes we see the advertisement in a particular signboard or like that hoarding that my friend needs a living kidney. Please contact with this is number. So this is happening. This is a real thing happening today in this universe. Why? Who is the cause? What is the cause to issue this advertisement? Why the people are getting affected or damaging of the vital organs? That is the thing of wonder, and that should be thunders. In this context, I would like to say you the few words of the Aridajan. I have told earlier, because of the way near the recapitulation of the studies, what you did in your BHMS or MD course, and reiteration of the words, what in the text. So I would like to express my webinar through interpretations of my text, accepted state a text in homeopathy, as well as my clinical experience of what I found in tackling this type of circumstance. What you tell this organon translators preface in 1893, he told what Hahnemann told in his time, that is that I have not presumed to criticize the view statement of the author, his denunciation of the practice of old school of medicines. So quite deserved when he wrote are not inapplicable, because during that time they have changed. They did not they stopped the medicine of use some that abortive drugs, and therefore, and were Hahnemann alive, now we can easily imagine how he would have inveighed against the tonic, stimulant, blisters, cauteries and purgatives and markulizations, against which he said in 1893 in this particular organ. Please go through the translator's preface of 5th edition. You'll find this particular paragraph from where I am quoting, and exactly I am telling that Hahnemann, what Hahnemann told, that was very pertinent to that time point. But now they have changed, because you know that the organ of medicine, that is the watermark of the medical philosophy, and owing to that, that system of medicine, that system which is named by Hahnemann as allopathy, they changed themselves by the way of modification of application of the disease. And thereafter, after Hahnemann in 1928, after the discovery of the penicillin, and they have also changed. Turning point of that, now they claim that is the modern medicine. So let us see what is the situation after 1928, because in 1920 Alexander Fleming, when discovered the antibiotics, and he introduced it universally after getting the Nobel Prize in 1942, and that was indiscriminately using. Since then it is indiscriminate. Now not 100 years, but the World Health Organization giving threat: don't use antibiotic indiscriminately without the proper prescriptions of the doctors. Why? Because of that, they are feeling, obviously there are some sorts of suppression and palliation, some sorts of damage of the human economy, and that is why it is going on. So naturally, in quoting from it, and I would like to quote that what is the iatrogenic disease? Physician-induced disease. Iatrogenic disease, I want to say, as a physician-induced disease. Any untoward adverse consequences of preventive, diagnostic, therapeutic regimen procedure that causes impairment, handicap, disability, death resulting from the physician's professional activity. or from the profession or of the other health professional can be termed as iatrogenic disease, a comprehensive definition of the iatrogenic disease. That can be by preventive way, that can be by therapeutic, that can be by the professional error, by the professional any errors, whether it is a diagnostic procedures, that also can be included. When there is impairment of the health, when there is a handicap, when there is even death, that condition can be termed as that iatrogenic disease. It is well known to all of us that the long continued use of the any medicine, both crude and potentized, please try to remember, both crude and potentized ensure to produce an artificial drug disease in the living organism, which is termed as iatrogenic disease. So it is our sentence of that homeopathic commonly used. So is iatrogenic disease. Now, what are the causes of iatrogenic disease we find today? What are the causes? If you divide into two, that is the medicinal cause and non-medicinal cause. The medicinal cause are drugs, therapeutic medicine, therapeutic measures, and preventive measures. Therapeutic measures I would like to divide into two again, as the repressive drug or wonder drugs, and other is the homeopathic medicines. Other is the homeopathic medicine. Wonder drugs and repressive drugs. The repressive drugs is a very frequently used by master handyman in chronic disease, and thereafter it is changes the wonder drug by modern medicine. These are nothing but the repressive drugs. The name is changes. They are calling it a wonder. It is a magical drug. Is it a magical drug? No, nothing magic happens by these drugs. Only but the presentiment of the symptoms removes by the way of changes of the body economy, by damaging of the body economy. That are to find it. Now, my students, my viewers, obviously most of you are homeopathic doctors. A question may raise whether homeopathy produces iatrogenic disease. I will say, and you will consider, say from the text, and homeopathy can produce iatrogenic disease. But which homeopathy? Rational potentized homeopathy? Yes, if the rational potentized homeopathy irrationally administered, that would be the irrationally administered. And the pseudo-homeopath monglerisms. Pseudo-homeopath monglerism, exact term Hahnemann has used, also Kent also used the monglerisms. They're claiming that a homeopath, using that file, but mixing and combination of the so many homeopathic potentized medicine. Is it homeopathy? No, because it contradicts our principles. It contradicts us laws as adapted homeopathy on which we have been educated.
Um, I'm sorry for the small inconvenience. His uh, yes, Anand. Yes, there's a small inconvenience, a small technical issue with doctor's side. He's trying to reconnect. Let us give him like 5 minutes for him to reconnect. Till then, if anyone has questions till this slide, please start you're typing the questions in your comment section or else in the chat box below, so that once all the slides are over, we can publish the slide, publish your questions on the screen, and one by one we can answer that. A. And B, if there is any audio or a video technical issue from your side, try refreshing the browser, because sometimes the browser, when you're watching the webinar over a browser, it wouldn't refresh. So try refreshing it, and you will start having your audio and your video back. Even if you're not a bunch, or if you've missed a chunk of the webinar, feel free to revert to us back. We will be uploading, this is a recording, so we would definitely be uploading the recording over the website, I Love Homeopathy website. So yeah, that would be it. And let's give him 2 minutes for him to come back and join us again. Sorry, really sorry for the delay. Thank you for all your questions. I would definitely post them once doctor comes live. There's a great number of people online today. If anyone wants to come up on a video and chat with us, please feel free. Till he gets oh yes, doctor has come. Doctor has come back. His technical issue is resolved. Um,
No.
yes, yes. I will go offline. You can continue, doctor. Thank you.
Okay. Severe network problem. Mhm. So, just again, my viewers, I appeared before you because here in Nagpur, Maharashtra, severe network problem. Everything is good technology if it is runs in proper way, but sometimes technology hampers. So don't get nervous. Again revoked. And now, what I'm telling, what are the causes of the iatrogenic disease and how to have divided the rational homeopathic medicine? If it is irrationally applied, then it can produce iatrogenic disease. So here it should be writing down the irrationally applied. That means the repetition. That means the doses are not proper. Similarly, the medicine is selected similar way, but the application by the way of more than repetition is not unnecessary repetition. Dose is more in subtime also produces. So rationally potentized medicine irrationally applied. And that is a pseudo homeopathy what I'm telling. So this is about the medicinal drugs that can produces that repressive drugs and wonder drugs, and also the more non-medicinal procedures, that surgical procedures, professional error, surgical produces, because you know the false surgery and true surgery. And sometimes what happens, we see when in case of the tonsillitis, there is no need of removal of the tonsillitis. Homeopathy medicine can give relief of the patient suffering from children suffering from the tonsillitis. We had lot of experiences, and my viewers also seeing some experiences, experiencing such of cases that with homeopathic, proper homeopathic treatment, giving antibiotic, not by giving the antimiasmatic treatment, getting relief, and the patient are getting relief of that. So sometimes what happen in case of other than homeopathic system, they give their medicine, suppress it, ultimately they refer to the surgeon by removal of such. After removal of that tonsillitis has some function, natural function, that is been stopped. So that consequence of the removal, some sorts of symptoms appears. That symptoms can be comes under the iatrogenic diseases after the removal of this particular part. So many examples can be cited. The professional error by the misuse of the medicine in professional. Just one I'd like to say, the sound sensor fidelity and fidelity in tracing of the picture of the disease. That fidelity, sometimes what happened, the fidelity has the three meaning. The fidelity means the loyalty. The fidelity means loyalty of a Muslim to Islam, Hindu. That fidelity is not counter. That fidelity is sometimes interpreted by teachers, and other fidelity means faithfulness. That how does the faithfulness? The faithfulness means a president of India has fidelity to his bodyguards, and therefore the system is running. Husband is fidelity to wife has the fidelities to the husband, and therefore the society is running. Otherwise the contradiction appears. The homeopathic doctors has fidelity to his compounders or dispensers. If there is a breach of fidelity, homeopathic doctors prescribing the medicine Nasvomica 200, but the compounder serving the Nasvomica instead of Nasvomica something others. So that medicine can produce some sorts of iatrogenic diseases. Even in allopathy it happens. Even in distributions of the immunization it happens by the some mechanical cold chain methods and giving that vaccines, and produces different types of side effects. So this is the non-medicinal substances. And medicinal, another things that is called the preventive medicine. The preventive medicine, the immunization had bad effects, vaccinosis. Only the homeopath consider these things the bad effects of vaccination. Allopathy says there is a little bit of vaccination, but what happened? The vaccination is more severe. Sometimes it produces secondary manifestations of the so many diseases. So immunization, that consequences produced after the vaccination, it is common to iatrogenic disease. That can be termed as iatrogenic disease by vaccination. Is the term iatrogenic disease and the term of Henneman's artificial chronic disease or dissimilar chronic disease are synonymous? If you ask, I would say it is yes. It is nothing but the yes. Henneman told it is artificial chronic disease. Henneman told it is dissimilar chronic disease. It is nothing but the iatrogenic today, and iatrogenic disease it is nothing but the disease produced by the physician, produced by the misuse. All the therapeutics may produce. Yes, all therapeutics. What I told earlier, all the system of medicine, yes, they can produce. Allopathy, yes, it is recognized. Even it is also felt by them. And life system, though it is, yes, ice system, Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda? Henneman never told about the Ayurveda in organ of medicine, because Henneman from European country, he did not know about that. Ayurveda is nothing but the homeopathy, nothing but the allopathy, mixtures of unknown medicinal medicines, and sometimes they follow homeopathy, similar medicine, but a little bit we have seen in their experiences applying the similar homogeneous medicine. But mostly they apply, so it is one way allopathy. They are using the allopathic way. And why for yoga? I do not yoga whether that yoga will come into produces, but unnecessary yoga application, the unnecessary exercise is adapted, they can produce diseases. When the proper exercise is required, when the yoga therapy is required, but unnecessary, they are giving some sorts of others for the particular disease. Sometimes it produces diseases. Unani also they are prescribing the medicine which is not properly programmed, non-medicinal mixtures. So that can be termed as of the allopathy. Siddha, similar things. Only the homeopathy parts follow the similar mode of system of medicine. That similar mode of medicine, similarly selected, if it is applied in proper way, that can produce iatrogenic diseases. So all the system of medicine can produce iatrogenic diseases, even by the rational medicine of homeopathy as termed as rational, but sometimes when it is applied irrationally, that can produce these iatrogenic diseases. Now, viewers, what happened? Iatrogenic diseases. As I have told you, I shall try to refer constantly our text, what our text says, because the organon of medicine, chronic disease, these are the rules and regulations. These are the rules and regulations adapted through this particular book. How to do practice. If we follow these regulations, we are able to do practice in proper way, because Hahnemann has given clear direction how to do practice in artificial chronic disease, in case of natural chronic disease, in case of any other diseases that can be termed as inappropriate chronic diseases. So these three chronic diseases recognized in specifically in case of artificial chronic disease, he has mentioned in 74, 75, and 76. What we learn from that? What is artificial chronic disease done in the aphorism number 17? That by using the allopathic treatment, prolonged use of the heroic drugs by the corrosive sublimate, calomel, mercurial ointment, these are the mode of treatment they applied during that time, and they produces the artificial chronic disease. Now, in 75, he has given a warning that when that artificial chronic disease reaches its peak, become most deplorable and most incurable chronic disease. My viewers, think of that. The today's situation, some sorts of changed. That depressant drugs are changed into actor. They do not use the mercurial preparation, do not use the prussic acid, they do not use the leaching, but some Unani part they are using leaching and cupping. I do not know what is the consequence of it. Nothing but that suppressing, that damaging the systems. And in 76, what he told, the Almighty deity gifted us homeopathy for the natural diseases. Almighty gift deity granted us in homeopathy the means of efforts of relief, and by those but by those devastation and maimings, produced by unnecessary use of the allopathic drugs or non-homeopathic drugs, that can be remedied by the vital force itself. That is the way out given by Master Hahnemann in aphorism 74, 75, and 76. Please recapitulate it. Please reiterate and remind it what you have learned from the text, because text, which is a rule, is the guide to do practice. So just I am to recapitulate it you. Now, how artificial chronic disease is formed? By repressive drugs, at that time. But the repression, the which are artificially produced by long use of the increasing doses of allopathic drugs such as calomels, mercury, silver nitrate, prussic acid, mercurial chloride, that is valerianum, foxglove, so many measures they took during the treating, leeches, issues, cruciating mode of treatment, cetons, so many. As you learn, can homeopathically suited to the case produce? Can homeopathically suited to the case produce? Yes, that can also produce. Homeopathically suited medicine can also produce. Just I have learned and just I have said you. Now, aphorism 276, I can remind it what he told. What is said in this aphorism in 5th edition and 6th edition of medicine, that artificial chronic disease as produced by the allopathic drugs, what is reason a medicine enough though it may be homeopathically suited. What earlier side I've shown you, yes, it can be homeopathically suited to the case of disease, does harm in every dose that is too large. Large in the context of quantity, large in the context of repetition, and the more harm, the larger the dose and the magnitude of the dose, it does more harm. Greater its homeopathicity, more the homeopathicity, when the repetition in unnecessary repetition, that does more harms. So what you learn from the 276 and also from the 276 edition he has mentioned. And he has mentioned, please recapitulate that homeopathy medicine, when selected in homeopathic way, when improperly administered, that also can produce artificial chronic disease, and can be termed in the modern language iatrogenic disease. What Hahnemann said in the footnote of the 276 in what? A homeopathic antidote for such a misfortune produced by abuse of large doses of homeopathic remedies is hardly conceivable. Hardly conceivable. My viewers, please remind that sometimes we made wrong and we are making wrong. Sometimes doing practice because of we do not follow the orthogonal medicine in proper way, and therefore we are failing. Therefore we are failing. The failing. There are so many consequences I would like to cite here over here. Now we are not getting the clear picture. Then now, in this way, because you are getting the clear, not getting the clear picture of chronic disease. How? Because the picture, if you consider a layers, the petals last, the outer layer is produced by the food, bad effects of the foods, genetically engineering foods. From the morning to night, you are taking the artificially prepared food, genetically engineered foods. They are also making some impression on the human economy in the genetic impressions also they are produced. So that can be terms and inappropriate in chronic disease. What happened? And thereafter, indiscriminately used, we are using the allopathic drugs. Even the allopathic drugs are being purchased in the grocery shops in the form of penicillin and others, antacids and others. These are also continually producing some sorts of harm. So when the chronic disease is coming, or you are getting a natural chronic disease covered by some layers, and one by one we have to remove that layer. One by one remove, ultimately you get the clinical picture, and that clinical picture, how to get that is a question of discussion today. Now this point today I would like to say that consequent upon the some preventive measures also produces iatrogenic disease. In this last three generation or fourth generation, three decades or four, when a national immunization schedule has been accepted, and there is indiscriminate use because the law is there. Every child should be immunized. And what are the consequent effect, the remote effect? They do not consider. They did not. But we the practitioners, we the homeopath, because we felt that, and there are a lot of consequences. That hazards of immunization during antenatal care and postnatal care. Obviously, there are some blessings. I will come to that, and also so there are some curse, and the blessings and curse both are required for that. And what are the immunization we find, and what are that is the biological immunization, bioimmunization agent are given for the purpose of preventing the diseases. That OPV, oral vaccine, we commonly find, because I was in rural areas, practiced in a very particular health center for a prolonged period of time, observed such symptoms in diarrhea very rarely as vaccine associated periodontitis. Only one or two cases find, but the diarrhea commonly find most of the out of 100%, we got 10, 20 or 30 patients due to that OBB. IBP local reaction, it produces in duration, sometimes becomes it's permanent. And measles also, these types of reactions we observe, that fever, rash, adverse reaction, toxic syndrome, and sometimes it is text says, and the literature says that is the exaggeration of the TB. So many literature, so many journals are available, you can find out. MMR also produce some sorts of bad effects. It is worshipped. If you say, sir, how many the percentage, whatever might the percentage, they are claiming that 100% immunized. No, 100% not. That 100% immunization is very rare, because even after immunization, that if you get exposure of that particular germ, particular thing, you will get affection of it. So it is not permanent. Now the mumps, yes, it also produces adverse reaction, fever, encephalitis. It is observed by them, also by us, because we see the BCG reaction commonly prolonged severe ulceration. We commonly find at the site of vaccination. Suppurative hepatitis. That vaccination, suppurative hepatitis is nothing but the manifestation of the miasmatic infection due to the vaccines. Rubella adverse reaction, and hepatitis B reaction also produces some sorts of adverse reactions, as we see, as we get from the literature, and also have experienced some sorts of bad effects of vaccination in my rural practice. The vaccinated A also, it has some bad effects. That typhoid vaccine also, it has tetanus toxoid, repeated tetanus toxoid. If it is given repeatedly, unnecessarily given, tetanus lelo, you can take the tetanus, and even biting, and that can produce some sorts of variola. Yes, it has some sorts of reaction, local reaction, systematic reaction. Rabies vaccines also, it has some sorts of reactions. Now, homeopathic viewpoint on hazards of the vaccinations, Hahnemann supported or not? Now, my viewers, as you know, 1796, when Hahnemann discovered the homeopathy, because it is the birth year of the homeopathy, when he published an essay on few principles for ascertaining the curative powers of drug and few experiments of the previous principle 1906. In the same year, another turning point, rather thing happens during that time, that Jenner discovered the cowpox vaccine, and during that time cowpox vaccine, and also Hahnemann supported it. Somewhere in Organon we see, and that I want to remind you, in aphorism 46, both 5th and 6th edition, what we see? The 311 phenomena you will see. 11 phenomena, the 11 phenomena are 9 are of smallpox and cowpox, and 1 is measles and whooping cough, and measles whooping at 2. All the phenomena are epidemic diseases. All the phenomena are epidemic diseases. Aphorism 46, please remind that what he establishes by inductive logic, by induction, that homeopathy can cure the disease because the disease has power to produce the disease on the similar way. He has given some example, cowpox and smallpox and measles and here. So wherein he supported, this seems to the reason of the beneficial, remarkable fact, namely that since the general distributions of Jenner's cowpox vaccine, if you go through the Organon book, you'll find there is a print mistake. In Nenner's is mentioned, but it would be the Jenner. There was none in the name of Nenner in the medical science, but it would be Jenner. That's a printing mistake. In all books are going like that. They say what we thought in pharmacy, from where the sugar milk is prepared. Everybody says that is from the goats, but it is not scientific answer. That is a separate chapter. In any time I will discuss you that not only the goats, from have a similar thing, that misprinting is going on everywhere, and organon medicine. No, it is a genus. Vaccination, human smallpox never again appeared as epidemically or and virulently as 40 to 50 years back, which came when attacked one city. It killed the 2/3 and 3/4 of the children. So what does it mean? It means Hahnemann in 6th edition, he supported the Jenner's vaccination. In aphorism 56, if you go, wherein he wrote about the isopathic medicine, that isopathic medicine similia opposes the similia. In the footnote, he also mentioned that Jenner vaccination is the cause. It is nothing but the one of the homeopathy. The today's vaccination, whether leaf and stalk vaccines, most of them are nothing but the preparation in the homeopathy and principal application of the homeopathy. Yes, but they do not consider it. But in this way, in this aphorism, please, I do not like to quote the details of the particular paragraph of that particular footnote I name. Moreover, in this way, undoubtedly certain diseases peculiar to animals may give us remedies and medicinal potencies, very similar important human diseases, and thus happily last the nosors. And here in the earlier paragraph of the same footnote, he said, universal vaccine and put an end to all epidemics of that deadly fearful smallpox to such an extent that the present generation does no longer possess. My viewers, hear me my question. Hear my question. The last smallpox case was found in Somalia in probably 1960s or like that, 1 year more, year. But the smallpox vaccination introduced in 1796. What I am to say, if it is Nos Frankenstein, then it will be stopped. It cannot be stopped without the antidote. Only the originator, only the discoverer, inventor can know the antidote. But it is the natural. Every time the virus transmuted the genetic configuration of the virus, and therefore virulency comes down. But how? With proper management medicinally, yes, not by dissimilar, only similar mode of treatment, and with proper diet and management is required for that. How many people are escaped? I know in my experiences, so many children did not immunized. They refused that. In spite of that, their virulency, their immunity power, their strength power is very good. But we should take a statistics that how many are immunized and non-immunized, and what is the consequent in immunization. This is a high time for a other system of medicine, specifically our system of medicine, to put down before the world this is happening. Obviously, the virus will be prevented by some vaccine. Obviously, the virulence will be lessened. But what will be the consequence of that vaccine? Will it be a permanent vaccination? Somebody tells no, only 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, and temporary vaccinations. If the vaccinated people get exposures of that organism virus severely, then what happened? Obviously, he will be affected. So it is conditional. Sometimes also vaccine also. And even supported it. He felt its consequences. He wrote in chronic disease. He mentioned, and after Hahnemann, so many people confesses these are nothing but the bad effects of vaccinations. Hahnemann did not get too much time for doing research on that point of time. Say for chronic myasthenia, what do you see if you go through the chronic myasthenia? Huge number of pages he has used for the SORA. Very few pages as he has used for the syphilis and psychosis. Why? Because of that, he did research on SORA more and more. Because of that, syphilis and psychosis was well recognized by the Indian system of medicine that if anybody attacked by the syphilis, he will suffer, his generation will suffer. And the psychosis, Hahnemann himself introduced psychosis, even it is a miasmatic dyscrasia. In chronic disease, in Peculiar Nature, volume 1, page 33, you will get that he has condemned the vaccinated mode of treatment of disease. And thereafter, so many people, the Bonnie-Hussein's thought you will get, he has also mentioned the consequences. Though I have mentioned, I will constantly refer to the text, but I do not like to go to the details of the because time is very short. Barnett, well recognized in the academy. All of you are the academic person. Students, teachers and practitioners, one way they are also academic because they are concerned with the fate of the patient by studying the books, consulting the organ on mathematical repertory. We are academician till death as a practitioner. Let us consult some repertorial works. If you go, there are some consequences, some bad effects we will find. Bonnie-Hussein's characteristic repertory you will find. Vaccination after there are so many medicines, sensation and complaints injury, vaccination prophylactic, sulfur, thuja, variola. So they did lot of research on that point. Hahnemann did not get more time to do research, but he given some light on that in chronic disease, just I mentioned earlier. Repertory of the homeopathy mathematical Jetican, you will find so many chapters wherein the bad effects of vaccination. Just to remind you, in similar, you will get Ken's repertory, paralysis, lower, and the thuja is the medicine. So we have lot of scope to deal with the consequence of the vaccination. The consequence of the vaccinations can be termed as iatrogenic disease and then can be treated by homeopathic medicine as literature text says in the repertory mathematical chronic disease. So we should take the cases. Now, some therapeutics, if you go, our text Mathematica, you will find there are a lot of therapeutics. Antimutant, meserium, thuja, bad effects of vaccination, each like eruption vaccination, it counteracts the vaccination. I do not like to read out this because they are these are very well known to you. Just you recapitulate, you read it yourself and take it from reference. Silesia, Crotellus. Please read the Barrett's vaccination aids cure of thuja. Yes, nicely explained. Side effects of some wonder drugs. I can recapitulate it. Now the repression drug has been turned into the wonder drugs. What are the wonder drugs we see to this market? They call it miracle drugs. What miracles they does? What miracles they do? Nothing but damage of the human economy. I say human economy because now economy being tortured. Starting from the before Master Hahnemann, only Hahnemann perceived it, and thereafter so many stalwarts and his followers are perceiving it. Produces new but dangerous effects: aspirin, steroids, penicillin, painkillers, tranquilizer, insulin. These are all wonder drugs. Are repressive drugs or Hahnemann era used by present day's allopath? If you ask me the question, answer will be yes. Then only the name changes. The contraceptive, it has also side effects. It also produces iatrogenic state. High blood pressure, weight gain, headaches, sore throat, irregular period, mood changes, decreased sexual desire, acne. Yes, I personally seen so many cases in rural areas because I was posted in a health center in my first part of service life. I saw so many doctor. I am taking this pill and this pill. Even some homeopath use some pills that it is been from Bangladesh and others. I gone through literature. No, it is nothing but the allopathic drug because it's the minimum dose. They thought that it is the homeopathic pill for contrast. Homeopathy do not goes through the nature. These are nothing but the allopathic. So from the other countries, they are marketing it in the minimum dose. Therefore, it is homeopathic pills. Doctor, I'm taking that, and after that, I'm feeling so many troubles. I say, stop it, and follow some natural process for so controlling your generation and others. Just one child is more, two child is more. No, don't think of it. But what happened? They are using, in spite of that, producing so many devastating actions in the human economy. Endocrine device also produces. Doctor, after taking this one, putting in this one in the uterus, what happened? I have a headache, breast tenderness, everything's come. These are the iatrogenic state produced by today. Antibiotics, as you know better, so many troubles they produces. Digestive problem, difficulty vision, teeth, bone stain, anaphylaxis, kidney failure, hampers the immunity and general weakness. Devastation changes occurred by this one. Now, very recently, I saw in the Facebook, uploaded by the World Health Organization, misuse of the antibiotics puts us all at risk. It is not by homeopath, uploaded by homeopath. It is uploaded by World Health Organization, the apex body in the medical system. They introduced it. Antibiotics, bad effects of antibiotics. Oral steroids, frequently used. Oral cream, steroid cream. Acne, blood vessel, cataracts, glaucoma, growth of the body hair commonly found. Doctor, I'm suffering from the growth of the hair after taking that cream. And you go through the composition, you'll find it is the steroids are there. Steroid, indiscriminate use of the steroids, damaging the human economy and damaging your kidney, damaging your liver, and damaging your so many systems like central nervous system too. indiscriminate use. It is a warning. The COVID is a warning to us. Enough is enough. We are responsible for that. The cause of the disease is nothing but the constitution itself. Even Park considers in different ways, Park and Park you go through. Yes, we are ourselves produces the soil for the disease. These are the fertilizer which produces, which nourishes that nidus to produce, generate so many diseases. That nourishes the nidus. The kidney problem, failure, liver, anabolic hormone. Do steroids shortens the life? Obviously shortens the life. Not lengthen the life. Complicated the life. Painkillers. Different composition produces so many drugs. Doctor, after taking the aspirin tablets I'm taking from period of time, what happened, doctor? Now I'm suffering from acidity, suffering from so many troubles, and sometimes I get pain in my stomach, and ultimately diagnosed is the gastritis or gastric ulcer. Why? Which is the cause? Tension? No. Tension precipitates but exaggerated by the painkillers. Aspirin has gastrointestinal ulceration, antacids, continuous use of the antacids, metabolic disorders, serious kidney troubles. These sorts of cases we are getting. Sleeping pills, indiscriminate use. Patient himself takes these pills without taking consultation of the doctors. Going to the in a rural areas, country areas, you go there, even the sleeping pills, antacids are sell out in the grocery shop, pan shop. These are also cause of producing iatrogenic disease and producing our human economy in such a manner that today we are feeling the consequence of that simple small little creatures. You see, consult the papers and see how when a COVID patient is treated by homeopathy, they are getting relief of it, even the positivity turns to negativity. But when these are treated by any other other than homeopathic medicine, they are getting more trouble because the manifestation secondary are manifesting out and complicated with the symptom and the patient died. Steroid creams, do not hydrocortisone creams do not use that hydrocortisone babes. Long use of causes permanent stretch mark. Commonly we are find. Adverse effects of medical procedure treatment, just have told the professional error. Radiation therapy and chemotherapy also sometimes produce iatrogenic disease. Anemia, diabetes, vomiting, nausea, brain, these are the iatrogenic state you can consider. Bad effects is produced. Homeopathic approach to tackle iatrogenic disease. Wonder drugs, irrational homeopathic approach. That iatrogenes can be produced even by irrational homeopathic approach by application of potentized medicine. Prolonged use of wonder drug will cause manifestation of latent miasm and transgression of the latent sora to secondary sora. And these are the only one cause. And even repeatedly told in Organon, 78 footnote, and also different part of the chronic disease treatment chapter, if you go, that he has mentioned this is another cause that the repressive drugs are producing the secondary manifestations. Transmission of state as produced by artificially chronic disease and natural chronic disease. Patient may come to you two ways now the treatment side. Directly patient may come and circuitously patient may come to you. Directly means patient after getting trouble just without consulting, because there are so many persons in so many citizens in the country, they first take the shelter of the homeopathic treatment as a prima facie treatment, even from acute trouble from children to adult. They have trust on homeopathy because they are experienced the effect of homeopathy in their own life, so they directly come. And majority of the person, now as statistics shows, majority of persons at present generation, they are taking the shelter of homeopathy because their parents experienced the consequence of allopathic drugs. But most of the remaining persons are coming circuitously through allopathy, Ayurveda, and other system of medicines to us. Hahnemann has given clear direction in the organon of medicine how to treat the patients. Can you remember how to obtain the true picture of the chronic disease in above state? Aphorism 91, please remember. In chronic disease, the original disease picture is to be obtained by refraining to the original symptom appearing before taking medicine. Those who are coming from the other side, those who are coming directly, you can get the clear picture. Clear picture. If they did not take any medicine other than homeopathy, but that should be rationally used, but directly may come. You can get clear picture. The some sorts of picture you may get due to the inappropriate name chronic disease, just evaluating the symptom, that can be removed, as you know, if you stop this one, automatically this is removed. If the chronic myasthenia lurking and behind me, then you have to get the clear picture of the chronic myasthenia. But most of the come from circuitous way, and at that point of time, or after the discontinuing of the several days when medicinal effects go away, Hahnemann said, with the vital force itself remediated, so only placebo, and you will get the clear picture. Then you go to the treatment. How to obtain the true picture of the acute disease? If the patient come to you, डॉक्टर मैं एंटीबायोटिक में कॉम्बी फ्लेम खा रहा है, ये खा रहा है, प्लीज क्लियर, मैं कुछ चाहिए, मेरे पेन ज्यादा हो गया, प्लीज डू थिंग, हाउ कैन यू वेट फॉर दैट? द पेशेंट symptom says that it needs medicine. It is mentioned clearly. I have told you, I recapitulate you. I want to remind you what you have taught in your text. In acute diseases which are of rapid character, a complete picture of the congenital malady. On that basis, the homeopathic suitable medicines should be selected. It's clearly mentioned in organon medicine. What happened today? Most of the people are not obeying the rules and regulation of the organon medicine. Sad thing is going on the homeopathic society. What we see, even the first year, second year, students are not being properly treated. Properly taught organon medicine. Procedure of treatment of chronic disease. It is written in 206-209. And remind it, even acute disease, it is also mentioned before that. Just I am going to the procedure of treatment. Aphorism 207, what it says. Why is it necessary to inquire about the previous allopathic treatment? It is clearly mentioned over. You have to find out. So sometimes it is required to study the pharmacology, modern pharmacology too. And even use it. Now they have developed sometimes, because what are the side effects of it? डॉक्टर ये मेरे नहीं था पहले, ये दवाई खाने के बाद ही मेरे सिम्टम हो गया. Just I quoted exactly from the organon. I have not studied it, read out, because you please study yourself, consulting the organon. What is the learning? history of the previous allopathy treatment necessary to inquire about the order to know their effects in causing deviation from the original state of health and now disease condition. Harmful medicine. That is the learning from the separation. But sometimes we forget it and give the medicine, give the medicine. But what beneficiality granted us, that already have discussed. Only for natural disease for homeopathy, that part I have discussed. Steps of treatment of iatrogenic disease. Mind that Hahnemann himself cleared when there is a devastating and maiming, there is a little scope as a homeopath to tackle it. When there is a kidney damaged, what to do? Palliative mode of treatment. If the vitality is strained, the symptom will express. Symptom will express whether it requires the medicines. I would like to incorporate something new ideas in this respect, although not new, just I can recapitulate you. But for the side effects of the dangerous characters must be remediated by the vital force that we know that already have discussed earlier. Detailed case taking and find out the drug which is responsible for the condition. I would like to say about the totopathic treatment. I'd like to say about the totopathic treatment. I think you know, and so many works have been done by so many scholars in homeopathy, the totopathy. It is method of treatment curing or removing the effect of the allopathic drugs by introduction, curing by means of identical harmful agent and potentizing it. That is the totopathic treatments. May apply the same drug in the potentized medicine. I myself experienced some cases in my practice life, early part by giving totopathic medicine. Just I will cite here. If such potentized medicine are not available totopathic, we may apply our drugs like Nux vomica and camphor, antidote. You know what's commonly what we do? Camphor or Nux vomica. But sometimes, please remember, sometimes these totopathic treatments are very effective to remove the iatrogenic treatment, iatrogenic effect of the drugs. Nux vomica and camphor sometimes, most of the time, fails to antidote the wanted drugs. Yes, in such circumstances, totopathy is homeopathy physician prescribe on totally patient without considering the bad effects of the drug. Previous medication, he fails surely. Even he discriminates the symptom of the drug. So we have to find out what is the original symptom and what is the drug symptoms. And you have to find out. We can take the scope of totopathic treatment. I recognize, I refer two personalities whose literature influenced me. I have studied this one. One is the Jain Kanjilal, other is the Pat P. Patel. He has expressed his views on the totopathic treatment. Causative factors are the side effects of the abused drugs. They are used on the basis of the symptom produced by the crude drugs and disease. They are produced strictly in the process of homeopathic pharmaceutical preparation. They are used in potencies. At this point, I want to warn my readers that not the least do I want to go away from the homeopathic principle, but just I want to remove some obstacles to recovery. In such a case, we're coming up in a way of homeopathy. In modern wonder drugs era, totopathy cannot cure all types of drug disease, but it can help to cure. Because after removal effect of the iatrogenic disease, we have to take the anti-miasmatic treatment. For the removal of the iatrogenic disease, we may think of the totopathic medicine. Because during case taking, you have to consider what is the symptoms of the natural disease and what is the symptom produced by the bad effects of the allopathic drugs. I recognize this personality. I refer this personality. I have studied this book in details about it, and I gathered some experiences by applying the totopathic medicine. Procedure to be taken when patient comes from a pseudo homeopathic wing to the irrational application, so-called homeopathic medicine. Sometimes what I told about the totopathic, for the removal of the effect of the and iatrogenic disease, we take the help of the totopathic medicine. Another side, if the patient comes from the homeopath, so-called homeopath, they are applying the medicine, so-called homeopath, they are trying to follow semi-mono, but anyhow fails to tackle, who hand over the prescription to the patient. What I see, that the patient who comes from they do not bring the prescription, but ethical, they should prescribe the medicine, considering the effect of the medicine. If it is proper, so there is no question, it should cure. Who hand over the prescription to the patient, okay, as per ethics, carefully note down the symptoms that were present before taking the medicine, and what happened, majority number do not bring. We may not get the picture of the original disease, something added, should not prescribe any medicine till the medicinal disease gone. Animal has directed only placebo, only placebo, only placebo. If not, the original disease symptom will be prominent again after the disappearance of medicinal symptom. Then we may think of the new prescription on the basis of present totality of the symptoms. That is clearly directed organ medicine and other literature as I consulted, and you know that so many literature are available and so many texts are available in these records. After acquiring the complete knowledge of the polycrase drugs of our Mathematica and applying them with proper care according to the homeopathic principle, we can safely utilize the most chronic complicated care, including the iatrogenic diseases, as difficult to cure after the removal of the bad effects. Procedure for treatment for patient with mammings and devastation. What you do when there is a animal? What it told? It's very difficult. But for the side effects of dangerous characters such as devastating mammings produced by long continued allopathic drugs must be remediated by the vital force itself, and proper anti-myasthenic treatment should be done on these cases. Warning: in this aphorism cell, human healing art for the restoration of the normal state of those memorable abnormal conditions are often produced by the allopathic drugs. Non-healing drug, there is not and cannot be. Can we able to treat present day following remaining of the wonder drugs: kidney failure damage, pancreas damage, liver damage, drug-induced cancer, heart invalvular disease, lung damage, owing to the bad effects? The doctors are taking the painkiller for a long period of time. Not what I see in mind, the palpitation of the heart. After diagnosis is there is a heart problem. The transgression of the symptoms from the one part to the other parts. Doctor, what happened? I used the cream for the prolonged period of time. What happened after that? I'm cough and cold. That phenomena you observe in your daily practice, and kidney failure after the effects. So what do we do? Yes, we can only give relief to the patient to a certain extent that we know through the Kane's observation and incurable patient what to do to the incurable patients. Assessment of the incurability that can be assessed by gross structural change, no question of reversibility. If there is a structural change occurs owing to the bad effects of that iatrogenic diseases, observation of the action of the correctly chosen remedy, we can observe. Because of that, we say it depends on the vitality. Sometimes miracle is done. I have seen in my life, in the first part of life, National Institute of Homeopathy, a case was treated by Bholanath Chakraborty by arsenic. That was the hydrated cyst of the legs. Now he is the headmaster of one part of the district of Bankura, West Bengal, remote part headmaster. He praised the Bholanath Chakraborty like a god. By arsenic and miraculously did a action by hydrated cyst. All the allopathic doctors and modern surgeons said that lobectomy should be done, but the arsenic, because the patient was young at that time, hydrated cyst commonly found in the rural areas, and that was cured by, because depends on the vitality. Because sometimes the vital force itself, that means the constitution itself, some helps to the homeopathic remedy. Even after the administration of the selected remedy, if the homeopathy aggravation continues, prolonged observation, the case is incurable. Just after administration remedy, if there is any quick amelioration followed by aggravation, might be physician mistake, the case is incurable at that time. These are the guidelines. The effect the action of the medicine after the medicine from the Kane's 12 observation. Also, Hahnemann himself said, and Hahnemann himself in the chronic disease, who is the originator of it? Kane's observation. Hahnemann took everything from the Hahnemann, from chronic disease and also from the organ on the medicine. He modified it by his own practice. After administration, the well-selected remedy, the patient's complaints are found, but not the satisfactory, as in has no feeling well-being, going to the removal of any organ. That you know, because certain period of time it gets released. After administration of the increased remedy, there follows the opposite of the long Herring's law of cure, because it is only guide. Hahnemann, Herring's law. It is also Hahnemann wrote in chronic disease how to guide. Who is the guide? And Herring to take it from it, and he has modified it. But an origin is the Hahnemann. Everything, please read carefully the chronic disease. He has given clear direction about the treatment of the chronic disease, because he did exhaustive work on the SORA and used so many pages from the chronic disease. Certain conditions require palliative, as you know, advanced irreversible structural change, lacking of vital organs in case of relief of the pain with the agony of the death of the incurable diseases. My students in the first part of my lecture told that I would like to express my webinar by consulting the text and rules and regulation, what we learn in our academy and what we taught in our academy to my students, that I'm continuously quoting. And for the reminder of it as a practitioner, as a students, you please consult, and I would like to cite here what I have emphasized here about the total fatigue treatment that has the power to remove the bad effects and to remove the obstacles to get the clear picture of the medicine. I cite some cases over here. Case at OPD. Case 1. A lady aged 35 attended with OPD in the middle June of 1989 and OPD of major PSC West Bengal. Because it was so crowded at the time, I joined over there, and the lady came with severe fatigue for last 7 days, aggravated by slight movement, buzzing sound in the ear for 7 days, persisting nausea for last few days. Advice Briania, because it was so crowded, it was quite impossible to inquire everything, because if you see the rural health centers wherein our homeopathy doctors are posted, and they are crowded, because the common man knows what is the effect of the such and such drugs, and ultimately they attracted towards homeopathy. First line of treatment chosen by India as a homeopathic treatment for their child and sufferer than themselves. And similarly, I felt difficult to take the exhaustive pills in the OPD patients, and on that basis I gave the Briania. And second disease reported after 14 days started, no improvement. Doctor, I did not get repeat. Koi improvement nahi hai. She was very eager to get relief. No, doctor, I want to continue. I asked, please wait for a few minutes. After seeing some patients, we will call you. She was talking, doctor, allopathic medicine hospital. I was taking for TB patient. Because I am a TB patient, I cannot confess you at that time. There was so many crowd and so many fellow people, my neighbor were there. So I did not confess you. And I'm a TB patient. I was taking allopathic drugs. And allopathy now they're giving vitamins for strength and recover. But in spite of the getting vitamin tablets, I am not getting any relief for that. Please do something. I saw that your OPD is crowded by, because this is the only health center in the rural area, or only homeopathy doctor, Ayurvedic doctor is not there, and allopathy doctors are there. Plus, please do some things. I consulted it. When it appears your symptom, doctor, injection ke liye, tablet ke liye wadi hua hai. Ultimately, what happened? I gave that she was taking streptomycin. I gave him streptomycin 200 pills to go, but it was not available with me at that material point of time, because this medicine not supplied by the government in the rural areas. Common medicines are available. Naturally, in my hospital, there was a city just 5 kilometers away from here. I called. I told that selling agent, please to try to procure. He collected from Calcutta and gave me, and I gave the patient to the patient and told him, please take the medicine. Third visit she attended after 20 hours and stated, doctor, mere jo giddiness tha, but I go quite relieved. I got relieved of that. But anorexia is still there, nausea quite improved after taking your medicine. but I'm not taking streptomycin. Oh, that is completed. The course is complete. Doctor tell just vitamin, give me vitamin, and query why you are coming after 30 days. I said report after 7 days earlier. Doctor, I felt better on giddiness because giddiness was a very troublesome. It troubles me. She was telling in his colloquial language in Bengali. I am just converting you because most of the viewers from other than Bengali or other than Hindi, vertigo problem. Just he told very nice, sweet Bengali language. জাস্ট ডক্টর মে আমি আমার এই রিলিফ আমি আমার মাথার ট্রাভেলটা খুব বেশি ছিল তার জন্য আমি আসিনি আপনাকে কি আর বলবো জাস্ট আমি
Doctor, can you hear me? Uh, I think his net is frozen. Just give me a minute. I will just check. I'm really sorry for the second technical issue of the day. I hope you are all glued to the seat and listening to Dr. Akilesh Khan's slides. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Please let me know. I would definitely be the bridge to make it reach to Dr. Akilesh Khan. Is there any opinions on how the webinar is? Please let us know again in the comments. And if what other topics do you want to know, what other topics do you want to discuss and interact in such webinars, please let us know. We would try to bring those people over to using this platform. And 1 second, I'm sorry. Yes, I was just on a call with Dr. Akilesh. He is having a few technical bad signal. Yes, the webinar is great, but bad signal. Yes, keeps interrupting. Can I watch this somewhere again and get the parts I missed on the live session? Definitely, definitely. I will be uploading the today's webinar along with the slides, along with Doctor speaking on the I Love Homeopathy platform. We will definitely notify you once we uploaded the webinar on the platform so that everyone can go and watch. They can go and read the slides again. Yes, Shobha, we could definitely do a webinar on all the skin conditions, dermatitis, eczema. Definitely, we could cover dermatitis, eczema, psoriasis, and other skin conditions as well. Thank you for all of the suggestions, and I'm glad the doctor is back. We will get back to him, and we'll
What
just a few.
happened? What happened? What
Thank
happened?
you.
Can I continue? Can you continue?
Yes, yes, you
Can I
can
continue?
continue, doctor. Yes,
What happened?
absolutely.
In Maharashtra, severe net problem. Huh? Severe net problem. So my viewers, please keep your patience. My viewers, keep your patience. And
Yes,
trust on yourself. Don't trust on net, and don't trust on machine. Trust on nature. However,
sure.
just the
Uh,
third fish.
1 second,
Uh,
doctor. Yes, yes, John, your questions will definitely be answered in the end. Once doctor
no,
finishes all his slides, we will go on to the Q&A section. We will answer all your questions. Thank you.
okay, 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 okay. Now after query, what happened? He told that lady told doctor, what happened? I got relief of your patient because that giddiness and suffering from that. Ultimately, I prescribed placebo to that patient with nutritious diet. And my aim is to tell that how that obstacles can be removed. The hindrances produced by the iatrogenic manifestation by drugs can be removed. That one way we can take shelter by the way of topopathic medicines. As you see in the last case, the patient was suffering from TB. Originally, she was taking streptomycin injection form or azithromycin that was very popular at that time. Streptomycin was very popular in 1980s at that time. Now the TB protocol has been changed, multi-drug therapy, so many changed. At that time, she was taking, doctor, now my TB is okay, but I could not confess because the PUD was fallen. Now I am telling you that TB, I am taking that medicine. He produced that prescription of allopathy OPD just beside me, our PUD, and that is streptomycin. And again, I thought what medicine I should give, Nasvomica or opium or anti-protopathic. For experiment, I prescribed streptomycin 200, collecting from capital of West Bengal and Kolkata through some drug seller at the nearest city of Raniganj. I applied because Raniganj is a place wherein homeopathy is very popular, and in West Bengal there are so many doctors. Specifically, I want to pay my respect to Dr. Bhomik, old Bhomik. His two son are also doctor, but that old Bhomik was very popular. He popularized homeopathy in Raniganj belt area, and therefore homeopathy is very much acceptable in particular area because very close to Mihijam Act because that no P. Banerjee, original Porus Banerjee, is stayed at that time at that particular area. Now the another case number two, that was I dealt at the time of my posting at another health center, and the patient lose stool daily for 4 to 5 days times. Patient name was Rodi, and 7 days and passes stool like jet. General weakness just as a symptom because I told that in OPD patient, always OPD is crowded by so many patients, more than 50, 60 patients, quite impossible to took the take the dental case history, what I take in case of the chronic disease, but quite impossible. On that basis, because jet lag, I prescribed on medicine on that potentic, only the symptoms. Doctor Unone, he told in his colloquial Bengali language, डॉक्टर मेरे बच्चा हमार बच्चा जस्ट मेरे मेरे बच्चा चले जस्ट ही स्टूल मुर्गा का माफिक मुर्गा जैसे टट्टी जाता है इफ यू सीन मुर्गा हाँ देखा है वो कैसे ऐसे जेट लाइक जाता है जेट्टी इफ यू गो टू द रूरल एरियाज वेयर इन द नेचुरल गावरानी मुर्गा रहता है देखो टट्टी कैसे जाता है देखो just like on that basis I prescribe Pro 20 just on that basis And he came with his mother after second visit, 3 days. Reported, doctor, मेरे बच्चे को देखो ना, वो पहले अकेले आया है. He came alone, but now I came with, because no improvement with your medicine, but I have trust with you because I have seen so many cases. On call is ठीक है बैठो. I told him please wait. After seeing some patients, I can uh, entertain you. And then he had some ear trouble with pass from few days, and he told I am taking allopathy OPD, same PSC. She produced the allopathic OPD ticket, contains prescription, and advised to me. It showed that the chloramphenicol capsule was given to that for the ear troubles. See the case. And that time what she, then on that ground again I thought that protopathy, what we learned from the Patel and Kanjila, let me see whether I will give the antidoting of that. There is no need of chloramphenicol so many, but only thing I go through this chloramphenicol 200. I collected same from Bardwan because the health center was very close to Bardwan. There are so many homeopathy patients. I told them please collect this one, and anyhow collected. They collected it, and so as the medicine was not available in that time, SSD procured from the Bardwan nearest big town, and I give me a chlorophene 200. 2 dose had freeze will be attended after 1 month with the medicine as procured from the outside and reported quite good in respect of the stool, but weakness still is there. Stool at least month हो गया आपका 2 दिन का दवाई था. After taking the 2 days, the medicine stool is closed, but weakness is continue. Ruby came and advised Nihilinam. My object of this webinar to remove the obstacles of the enemy by way of the protopathic medicines. It is not my discussion today how to treat the chronic disease after getting the natural disease. That is a separate chapter. If any time I get the time through the webinar, I will say about how to treat the chronic diseases. What is the approach of treatment as said in the text as organoid medicine and chronic disease. That is a separate chapter. My object is here the iatrogenic disease, how to get rid of the effect of the hydrogenase in prima facie. And therefore, I have cited just 2 cases in order to influence you, that you can study more and more, and you can apply your own practice in order to get rid of the bad effects of that iatrogenic disease as produced by the non-homeopathic drugs. Now the conclusion in this point. The conclusion is that we should think of protopathy to antidote and to give relief after the bad effects of wonder drugs. Lot of wonder drugs are there. We should do research on that point of view, and we apply clinically at least. And then we can help our people, certain percentage of people who are indirectly, circuitously coming to us by the use of protopathic medicine. It is my conclusion today. And it is my humble submission before the audience. You please think of that mode of way of approach of treatment by homeopathic medicine. As praised by Dr. Patel, he did a lot of research, and praised by J.N. Kanjilan, and subsequently them so many physicians use, even SPD, a stalwart in that time, he used protopathic medicine in so many prescription in order to remove the bad effects of the chronic disease. This is the learning today, and this is my humble submission today before my audience, my viewers, my students. Please think of the matters. Now, the today's panic. What slide I saw you earlier, that the dragon engulf, the very beautiful picture of the earth and globe. How to get rid of this pandemic? That is a separate topic of discussions. Though I want to incorporate, say some few words, because Dr. Raghavan, Mr. Karthik has uploaded in the Facebook on that point, that only way to incorporate the similar medicine to get rid of from the consequences of the pandemic. There is no other way. But government should think about the enactment of the act, and the nosod is another way by which can remove that effect of the COVID-19 by producing COVID-19. Just few days back, I have gone through some newspapers already. There's Step has been taken by some doctors to produce the notes. The application should be done in this context. I know that several cases, my friends are telling my patients are not attending the allopathy doctors that they when they will be detected as positive, they will be sent to the allopathic isolation wards or quarantine wards and like that, and they will use allopathy ultimately. But you give some medicine, give some medicines, and they're telling yes, we are curing. But what happened? The positive case, they are telling asymptomatic positive. In the homeopathic parlance, is there any question of symptomatic? In really, there is a one-sided disease in chronic disease referring here. What element told seems to have it has symptoms. It depends on the discernment of the physician. What symptom they are telling? Cough and cold fever. These are not the symptom to us. This is a pathognomic symptom of the disease. But the individual systems are very important, and therefore our friends are giving lot of medicine for curing these COVID situations by homeopathy medicine on the totality of the symptom, considering the patient, not the disease, getting relief. And a nosode is another way, as we know. So many nosodes are used. So with this, we can make the picture of the world green, blue, this color. Otherwise, that color will persist. So this is my another appeal to the entire world, because I have told you that every
Doctor?
please stand up, all of you, the viewers, my viewers, please stand up. Every webinar has to object to praise your countrymen to any pathies and others. Homeopathy has. Please stand up. Those who are listening my lecture from any part of the country, please stand up and sing this national anthem. With these views, with this approach, I present my presentation to my viewers. In the long run, if I get chance, I'll go to the approach of chronic miasthenic treatment. Thank you to all of you. Hello. Thank you all. God bless you. Stay blessed. Stay home. Follow the government regulations. Hello.
Sorry, I had a little technical issue with my speaker, so I had to change with the earphone. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. That was really very
So
insightful. And yes.
So how can off these slides? How? Question answer session? Can you
Yes,
operate from your side?
yes. I will operate I will operate the question answer slide. 1 second. Yes, Jane, I will. Yes, this is your first question, Doctor. Please, would you be explain exactly what you mean by pseudo homeopathy or mongrel?
Thank you, Jan Asina. If you go through the organon of medicine, the particular term is the mangalerism used. What Hahnemann told in aphorism 267 footnote, that the homeopathy can produce iatrogenic disease, artificial chronic disease, whose antidote is very difficult to know, it's hard to difficult. But why these are pseudo homeopath? Only the homeopath who follows the semi-monominy, all the fundamental principles, he can be claimed as homeopath. But he is using the homeopathic medicine in the name of belladonna 30 or whatever might be it, but he is using that medicine by unnecessary repetition, unnecessary dose. The minimum dose is required, that one globally is sufficient to excite the similar manifestation wherein he is used the more. So that medicine, that is can be called as the pseudo homeopath. But what happened, why still today, my doctors, that maximum manufacturing unit or producer mixtures of potentized drugs, does it homeopathy? They can be come under the pseudo homeopath. And the Mongoloism are those, sometimes they are using this type of medicine in the name of homeopathy, mixtures of the medicines, mother tincture and others, and they can be terms and the Mongoloism. Mongoloism means hermaphrodite. One time they take the homeopathy, and other time they take the advantage of the allopathy. They name them, no, it is very difficult. It is a particular term used by Hahnemann in organon medicine. So therefore I am using Mongoloism, the particular term used by the Kent. Understand? I am quoting from it. The homeopathy can produce iatrogenic disease if it is administered in a non-homeopathic way. These are pseudo-homeopathic way, and Mongoloism are those who are taking the shelters, both the pathies, in sometimes in homeopathy, pseudo-homeopathy, mother tincture and others, even to treat the chronic disease. Sometimes we require mother tincture on low potency. That is a separate questions. In case of the mammies and devastation, that is a separate issue. Any other question? Any other question? I would like to know more about the iatrogenicity caused by irrational potentized homeopathy medicine, how to nullify. Yes. If you go through the 67 footnote, that homeopathy medicine, if it is produced by unnecessary aggravation, those that can produce the iatrogenic disease, the disease first, what Hahnemann told, that in 267 footnote, what he told, that homeopathy medicine, if it is a homeopathic antidote of such a misfortune produced by abuse of large homeopathic remedies, is hardly conceivable. Please consult 276 footnote, 275th and 6th edition, wherein Master Hahnemann nicely gave explanation about the repetition of the unnecessary repetition of the large dose. Same examples, only one potency, one dose is required. But unnecessary, you are repeating the drugs, whether in sentimental potency, unnecessary potency, that can produce a disease conditions. And Hahnemann said himself, it is not my talk. It is said by Master Hahnemann. I named them, it is not artificial chronic disease, is nothing but the, so artificial chronic disease can be produced by the homeopathy by large doses, that is. Because the similar manifestation is very attractive to get the responses. But some sufficient amount, if you the unnecessary, that can produce. So please, Priyanka, Madam, please consult 267 and footnotes and others. And if you take others, you place, my phone number is with Madam, and my mail number is akileshkhan@gmail.com. akileshkhan@gmail.com. AKHILESH Khan KHN@gmail.com. There is no doctor. No, my name is not prefixed with the doctors, but sometimes I say doctor. I am not doctor. I am a teacher. I am the professor. I am the teacher, but obviously a teacher of the doctor. akileshkhan@gmail.com. This is my mail number. You please mail me, and again I will answer you in details. Any other question? Any other question, madam? Any other question? How to tackle case patient wants to homeopathy treatment, also continue steroid by himself? Very good question, Shobha Bhasa. Steroid by himself. First, what I have learned, that what purpose is steroid is taking? What purpose? If it is used by life-saving drug, sometimes allopathy prescribe the life-saving drugs. Say for example, just in this context, I have to incidentally refer, a patient is the patient of that is called the angioplasty, angiography, or any bypass surgery of the heart. Doctor, I am taking a lot of medicine instead of 10 years. What you can do for me? Can you stop his life-saving drugs in this condition? At present, you cannot stop it. It depends on the symptoms. You have to take the case. What I have told. What is the necessary to know the allopathic medicine? 91, 92. Why I have explained aphorism number. You have take. How the symptoms appear due to these drugs. Can you stop the drug? No. Just you give a medicine on that point of time. And if you see that after the giving your homeopathy medicine, totality can be considered, considering that point, if you get relief, doctor, I'm getting relief, then you lessen the drug, allopathic drugs, and then increase of homeopathic drugs. Yes, we have the scope in that point of time. Steroid, if it is himself by indiscriminate use, I say why you are using, please stop it. Otherwise, you will feel the effect of consequence. Stop. If it is prescribed by allopathic, you have told that it is himself. There is no question of himself at all why the steroid you are taking. Because World Health Organization itself prohibits that you should not take medicine without the prescription of the registered doctors. So himself means don't take himself. It is another way of the patient himself producing acting disease. The patient himself producing acting disease. By taking the unnecessary medicine, steroids, painkillers, by headache, anosine and others. What I said earlier, that even in pawn shop, grocery shop, these are medicine available in rural village area. You go there, you can take the medicine. There is no medicine shop at all. I think Dr. Sobha Bhasa, are you satisfied? If you're not satisfied, you can contact with me. I'll reply you.
Doctor, you said that the person has to, stop the allopathic medicines and start with the homeopathic. So allopathic medicines, when he's stopping the steroids, he has to gradually taper the dosage and then
it depends on the vitality or considering the totality. If you select the medicine and the patient tells doctor I'm getting relief, then you chance increase, decrease. In this way, you can.
Okay. There's one more question, doctor. Just put it in front. Would you like to
give your opinion on potency? Potency, I find potency confused to choose. No, there is no question of no confusion. If you trust in organal medicine, if you trust your symptoms, if you trust in your pathy, and you should study organal more and more. Along with that, you should study Matria Medica. What I say in these regards, Matria Medica is our language. Hindi is not my language. English is not my language. Bengali is my language. In homeopathy, our language is Matria Medica, language of nature. Until you consult Matria Medica more and more. Kent says you study Matria Medica more and more. Until you know more numbers of Matria Medica symptoms and drug picture, I will tell you it. Even Hahnemann himself ridiculed the use of repertory, but the repertory sometimes produced one-sided homeopathy. And he also gave an emphasis in chronic disease. I can refer chronic disease. Please read Matria Medica more and more. And while you'll get the more the totality and more the clear picture, you will mean the potency system is selected on the basis of the symptom similarity. There are so many guides as given by the Stuart Close in his book, what are the potency have been selected, and this is a separate chapter, and it is a big chapter, and sometimes it makes cracks to understand from a young generation, but until you become conversant to do practice more and practice. How the skill develop? By exercise. By exercise. You do exercise. How do you ever exercise? By practicing. Ultimately, you get. I think John Asina is satisfied with my question. If you do not satisfied, I can refer so many books and go through my email. Okay.
Thank you so much, Jan. Thank you so much for having the session very interactive and asking questions. I hope you have clarified all your doubts. Shobha, you have sent skin eczema. I don't exactly understand what to talk about skin eczema. According to this lecture, or is that a suggestion for your next lecture? Can you specify, Shobha?
So, skin eczema, what do you know by skin eczema? This is a separate topic. It needs exhaustive discussion. What is skin eczema? But one thing I can remind you, Sopal, please go to the chronic disease. Skin eczema. One original in respect to the Sora Hahnemann said that the lepromatous disease, that impressions, miasmatic impressions runs generation to generation, generation to generation. But it manifested in secondary manifestation different types of some sorts of that skin. That lepromatous disease may transgress to psoriasis, to eczema, impetigo. But manifestation depending on the nature. But in my parlance will show this is not the secondary manifestations of the psora. Name, don't go through the name. Whether it is skin eczema, impetigo, psora, don't go through the name. We go to the patient, we treat the patient, not the disease. So these are the secondary manifestations of SORA. Secondary manifestations of SORA, as anyone said, that it transgresses, transmission generation to generations. And the manifestation depend on the different circumstances. By the outer circumstances, manifestations, atmosphere, external milieu and internal milieu, that manifests the diseases. So naturally, you don't consider the skin eczema, you consider that is nothing but the secondary manifestations of the SORA. Name is nothing, you do not go through that nosological diagnosis. You in the skin eczema, whether X or Y, whether it is a sulfur, whether it is a pulsatilla, whether it is a not pulsatilla commonly do not come, whether it is a graphitis, whether it is a petroleum, graphitis, petroleum, so and any other arsenic sometimes may comes. So you go through the patient. We do not consider the eczema, we consider the patient. Eczema of Ram, eczema of Y, eczema of Z, but sometimes sulfur, sometimes petroleum, sometimes graphitis, sometimes arsenic, so many other drugs, so many lot of, you go through the mathematica, and if you consult the repertory, okay, but repertory is not fullest, repertory will help you certain extent, ultimately you have to consult the mathematica. So if you any other questions in this respect, you may contact with me, and okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Any more?
I hope your doubt has been clarified through it. Thank you so much, Doctor. It's been a pleasure to listen to you talk. I really hope it was a live, seminar presentation, on-stage presentation. We wouldn't have had the minor technical issues we had today. That is absolutely fine.
What happened, Nagpur, here is a net, severe net problem today. Early morning, I took one classes for the students, but at that time net was very. But now in the evening time, net is very poor connection. Now it is quite good.
Yes, it is. No, I wish we had seen each other, face to face and not via a screen. It would have been lovely to hear from you.
Now, what happened at my I am retired from DND Homeopathy Medical in 2016. And at that time, I was very busy with the administrative works. The administration work is thankless job. It is a thankless job. Now, after retirement, I stay at Nagpur because of my daughter stays here. My son-in-law is a scientist of National Environment and Research Institute, Government of India, CSR. And among grandson is fond of very close to us and my wife, and therefore I stay here and I contacted with Bhav of the director of Antarbharati Homeopathy Medical College. I knew this college earlier because I came here for inspection, CCH inspection college. I saw that is a very good ashram over here, and at least he does homeopathy at this college. Anytime you may come to this homeopathy medical college in Nagpur, you see a good number of patients in OPD and IPD, and all are treated by homeopathy. And that attracted me. Ultimately, what happened after retirement, I am here as a professor emeritus, guest and professor emeritus, and academic purposes. Also, I am involved with writing some books and others. Okay, I hope so, because at my last part of my service life was very bad in administration, as is a bad, thankless job. I am basically a teacher. My father was a teacher. And I am basically a teacher. And therefore, I used to teach my students and experiences knowledge. Okay, thank you.
Lovely. There's a hierarchy of generation of sharing knowledge. That is a great deed, actually. In fact, thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much for the wonderful webinar. Thank you so much for the audience for joining us today and listening to the entire webinar. And it has been a really wonderful webinar. And as he quoted, COVID is a warning, so we need to get more
COVID is blessing.
information.
One thing I like to quote over here, COVID, it is our blessings. It is not the curse. But it is giving warning. Because warning to us, enough is enough. Please think of ourselves. What we are doing in the pollution, environmental pollution. What we are doing in the pollution of the human economy. Just have discussed here. So it is a warning. I do not know. Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Priyanka Madan. Thank you very much for your applause. Thank you, appreciation. And again, if opportunity comes from their side, I can participate in a webinar. Thank you, Dr. Karthik, for giving
100%.
opportunity.
We would love to have
13
you.
Rasima for good anchor and good coordinator for this good webinar. Thank you, all
Thank
of
you
you,
so
my
much.
viewers, all of you. Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Thank
God
you
bless
so
you.
much.
Stay blessed.
Thank you so much. I'll just share a thank you video with everyone and we will close the webinar for the day. Thank you.
Okay.
1 second.
Okay. Thank you. Bahula, stay tuned and upcoming webinars.
Yes. Tomorrow we have a webinar on addictions and art therapy. If you're all interested to join, please join us tomorrow also. The speaker is Elizabeth Uros from Romania. It would be wonderful to have a good audience there also. Thank you so much and good night. Good night, Doctor.
Good. Okay.
Hello.